Hello, students. In the course that we are doing National and International Affairs, one of the units is Disarmament and Arms Control. So, in this presentation, we'll be seeing more details on this topic. We have already been introduced to certain concepts of the national and international affairs. The learning outcomes of this presentation will be at the end of this, so you will be able to understand the meaning of disarmament and arms control, compare the difference in meaning of the terms disarmament and arms control, analyze the significance and impact of disarmament and arms control, and you would acquire knowledge about the history, the entire history, and also you will be able to, using this knowledge, you will be able to understand the present socio-political affairs of the world. So now let us begin with what the meaning of disarmament. Now, disarmament, the very term has this word arms. Generally, arm can refer to various things like, simple thing like arm, your forearm, upper arm, hand, a part of the hand. But there is another meaning to the word arm known as weapon, arms. The country, the military had arms. That means weapons. So disarmament means that itself has a meaning, this without arms or less of arms in that meaning. So what is disarmament? Every state has its own national security. What is national security? National security is securing the nation. Securing the nation. The nation should be protected from foreign attacks or foreign invaders. So that is national security, and that would mean a nation should have its military force ready, prepared, and they should have arms, weapons produced, so that using the weapons only they can defend themselves or attack an enemy when they are attacked. So there are weapons of mass destruction known as, in short form, WMDs. That means weapons of mass destruction. That means you throw a bomb, hundreds of people die. A bigger bomb, thousands of people die. So these are known as weapons of mass destruction. And more than that, you also have chemical and biological weapons. Chemical weapons, by sending some gas or something, you destroy people. Biological weapons can be like sending a germ or any such virus. Recent outbreak of corona, there was a theory, we do not know if it is confirmed or not. There was a theory that China has sent it, or some foul plays there to attack people, to destroy people. Now, we do not know if it is true or not. There is a theory. Like that, you have this kind of biological weapons where germs are sent, virus is sent. Viruses, there is an outbreak, deliberate outbreak to kill people. So these are all things that threaten the very existence of people in the world. Okay, and therefore the world countries have decided earlier on from previous experience that this kind of weapon should not be produced, and there should be this will lead to reducing the possibility of war, so that we can make sure that there is international peace and security. Okay, so if you see, no, this picture that I'm showing you is known as the knotted gun. At the end of the gun, you will see a kind of a knot or mudichu. Okay, that means it symbolizes that we are not using gun. Okay, the bullets will not be released from this gun. That would refer to a symbolical meaning of non-violence. We stop using gun, and this sculpture is located in the United Nations headquarters in New York. That will symbolically tell the need for reduction or stopping war or stopping the use of weapons. So now look at, there are two terms involved in this disarmament and arms control are these two terms. We will have to understand the difference between disarmament and arms control. What does disarmament mean? Elimination or reduction of arms, total elimination of the use of weapons in order to ensure international peace and security. So to avoid war. And disarmament is a global destruction of weapons. It means globally you destroy all weapons, do not use weapons, and disestablish all armed forces. You have this navy, army, and air force, all that. So you destroy these armed forces. This establishment. No need to have these armed forces when there is no threat of war. What is the need for war? That is the point. And this is complete disarmament. And now sometimes complete disarmament is not possible. It is difficult to achieve. So at least there should be some kind of reduction, arms control. So that's what it is meant by arms control. And arms control is discussed in two categories: arms reduction and arms limitation. So if you take arms reduction and arms limitation, see the difference. Arms reduction refers to partial disarmament. Okay, there is a mutual agreement between nation states. Nation states are the countries involved. There is a mutual agreement, between both the parties, and also more than one, two parties, which applies to all. It is done in a worldwide manner, or even to a small number of states. That is reduction, partial disarmament. An arms limitation is international agreement on a regular basis to limit the impact of war. The first one is reducing the use of weapons itself. Arms limitation is try and reduce, even if there is a war, even if weapons are used, try to limit the impact of war. And also the steps, the limitation will refer to the strategies adopted to prevent accidental outbreak of war. Like you have in the world key decision makers, like USA, Russia, China. They are all decision makers. Japan, Australia, the first world countries. Okay, they all decide, like only when they get involved, something big happens in the world. So they all stay connected uh, during the times of crisis, and there are steps taken for moratorium. Moratorium means prohibition of nuclear testing. So if you could remember a few years back, during the earlier BJP government, there was a test done in Rajasthan, in the Pokhran deserts of Rajasthan. I don't know, you maybe, I don't know if you remember, but still, that test was meant for testing our nuclear weapons. Even Dr. Abdul Kalam, our former president, was involved in that project to test our nuclear weapons in the deep deserts of Rajasthan, Pokhran Desert, under the ground, so many kilometers under the ground, so many miles under the ground. These nuclear weapons were used in order to test whether they are working properly. And there was all, of course, there was criticism. Some people were for it, some people were against it, but it was done just to prove to the world that, or to establish that, or to tell ourselves, to give ourselves confidence that we are strongly equipped, we have strong weapons. If any enemy attacks us, invades us, we can defend ourselves, and later on, if need be, we can even counter attack. So to make sure that we are ready, we are prepared, this test was done. So now that can even be prohibited, is what the general world committees are discussing. Now why should you at all produce nuclear weapons? Leave alone testing, need not even produce nuclear weapons and atomic weapons. So this kind of talks will between countries will be made in order to restrict the sale of arms. Only from from big powerful countries, they produce these arms and they sell it to lesser countries. So reduce the sale of arms and even the transfer of nuclear technology. That should be done. For that only, this kind of arms reduction, arms limitation is done. Now this is a picture of showing how long back U.S. President George Bush and Russian leader Gorbachev, they both signed a treaty for reducing production of arms reduction treaty. Now, like this, world countries get together and they sign these treaties to reduce the production of arms, or to control the usage of arms, to prevent war, outbreak of war, and that's for the purpose of international peace. And the former president of US, President Woodrow Wilson, is whom you're seeing in the picture. He gave a very famous speech known as 14 points. okay, where he insisted that armament should be used only for domestic security within the country. If there is a problem, if some strong force has to be used to control a riot or something, so only for that weapons should be used. It should not be used to attack another country only. And also that should be used in a very very low level. Only minimal usage should be there, creating only minimal threat, just for deterrent. You'd have heard of the word deterrent. Deterrent means just to create a fear factor. No, please do not invade or attack us. We are strongly equipped. We will hit back. So to say that, or not to insist on that, he gave the speech which is known as 14 points. He mentioned 14 points in that, and it became a very famous speech. It gave all these, it is an example of the efforts taken by the world leaders to save humanity. And such talks, such speeches were given only maybe after First World War, because a lot of damage was done because of that World War. So Treaty of Versailles was signed, and the League of Nations, they supported disarmament, total reduction, not producing war arms, or arms only for domestic safety. So after 1925, a lot of such developments took place, and there's something called the Geneva Protocol, which talks about prohibition of the use in war of asphyxiating. Asphyxiating means making someone die of lack of air by giving poisonous gas or something, or just loss of breathlessness, causing breathlessness. Any attack, a chemical attack or something, where a gas is inhaled or which makes the people go breathless and die. So such asphyxiation or poisonous, releasing poisonous and other gases, and all such methods of warfare were condemned, and they readers agreed upon not using them. So a lot of international laws were made, all bind all the nations in this cause towards international peace. And Second World War also had lot of, again, devastating effects. And as a result of this, UN Charter introduced more regulations of this, how to control this disarmament. Some of the major developments in the prescribed book that you have of Ghosh's book that we have, some points are mentioned, like the four-part declaration 1945, done in USA, and the Atomic Energy Commission in 1946 said atomic energy will be used only with restrictions. There will be exchange of scientific information among the countries only for scientific information. You discover something, you invent something, you find a truth, a scientific fact is discovered or invented. Now all that can be shared with among countries only for peaceful activities and not for destructive purposes. And atomic weapons should also come under strict scrutiny, and they should not be used only for peaceful purposes. And to prevent mass destruction, they should be eliminated totally. Now, again, another speech here by President Eisenhower about this is known as Atoms for Peace speech, where atomic energy, he insisted that atomic energy should be used only for peaceful activities, but that will ensure the peace. Okay, so a lot of commission on conventional armaments, disarmament commission, atoms for peace, all these speeches and all these commissions, they were all focused on only one thing: finding ways to reduce the size of non-nuclear armaments, and to make sure that arms are used only for benefiting results, to produce by benefiting results. And the YouTube link I have shared takes you to the speech given by president. So all this will tell very clearly that world leaders have taken a lot of efforts to control the use of weapons, armaments, in order to maintain international peace. So this international affair that is going on in the world has worked a lot towards establishing peace and making sure that nations are secure even without the usage of arms. So that is for this unit, students. You can read more about it in the textbook prescribed, P.U. Ghosh's International Relations, and there are, I have also given a list of reference books. Please go through them and get more information on disarmament and arms control. Next topic will be India's stand on this, not entering into the treaty or concerning nuclear, not using nuclear weapons or something. That we will, non-proliferation treaty and all that, we will see in the next video. Thank you, students.